There we go.
Yay.
Oh, good morning, everybody.
All
All
right.
right. Go ahead. Do you want me to kick it
Awesome.
off today, or do you want to kick
Yeah.
it off today, Tom?
Yeah, if I could.
Go
Because it's St. Patrick's Day and I'm like a quarter Irish. So
ahead.
yes, I would love to kick off this call. I feel lucky. So again, welcome everyone. It's so wonderful to see all of you here. So welcome to not only the March community call, but to the March release as well. And we're going to talk through that a little more. And we're also going to touch on what's happening not only in this release, but in the roadmap for the next couple of releases. We have a couple of demos that are lined up for you. And of course, we're going to take your questions at the conclusion of the call. So yes, if we could go to the next slide, please. So for the March release, I believe, am I passing this off to you, Kylie, or
Yeah.
right to Roman?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
No, I'll take it from here. All right. So good morning, everybody. We will be releasing this a little bit later today. We're just compiling all the information, getting it out the door. Inside it is a Traction Rec activity finder integration. So we will be getting that information to you a little bit more. Weekly schedules management, Roman's going to do a demo of this. We're very excited for it. It does not require any connectivity to any sort of CRM. So that's a pretty big one. We've done some updates to the event content types for everybody who's been asking for recurring events. This is coming your way. The Y360 schedules integration for Group X schedules is there as well. The final current version of the promotion content type that we're working on. So that allows you guys some more in-house marketing stuff. Search API for Layout Builder, which is a documentation task, as well as two-factor authentication as well. So those ones are coming from March. Now, I put a note here at the bottom, and this is why I wanted to present this slide. We will be doing a point release on March 26th. We have a small amount to clean up. We have a couple items that are a beta-based version, specifically the weekly schedules management. This point release will allow us to clean up just some of the last bits and pieces, turning it into a usable version. So heads up on that one. Tom, back to you.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk a little more about what's coming down the pike. If you can go to the next slide, please. Right, so in the June release, we're going to introduce some advanced filtering for Activity Finder. So what we're going to see that you didn't see before is the duration, the time of day, and the start month for the various activities. And also you're going to see some introduction of some new colorways integration with Activity Finder. In the layout builder side of things, we'll have schedules compatibility. So whereas some of you that are actively migrating to layout builder and maybe you weren't able to bring the schedules page into the layout builder side of things, you will be this summer. And also in Layout Builder, there's going to be some overall user experience and admin backend improvements for multiple components, as well as some different content types. So we continue to mature Layout Builder. Also, we have font support coming for the Canadian colorway. So for some of our Canadian site owners that are seeing that the fonts aren't quite right, we're actively addressing that, and that's coming soon. Also, there is going to be admin backend improvements for the internal weekly schedules. And I think we're going to see more of that soon. And also some backend Drupal core updates, updating that version to the latest available from the Drupal community. And then in the September release, we have some more technical things that we're working on, including a Vue.js update. We're also going to introduce the dark mode UI for the design system, because that's something we've been hearing pretty desired from the community. We're also going to see the small Y template, and this is particularly interesting, and we're going to talk about this more in some future community calls. But the small Y template is designed for Ys that want more of a channeled approach to the creation and the content management for their site. So we're actively working on that and very excited to see what comes for that. More colorways work with schedules and membership calculator compatibility. with the new colorways. And there'll also be a redesign for the membership calculator that includes a new financial aid estimator. And lastly, some more technical backend updates between Drupal core and various contributed modules that'll be updated. And then as we continue to round out the year, we're planning for the December 24 release. This will include some additional Bootstrap UI updates that will be happening not just in December 24, but across multiple sprints, because there's a sizable amount of work there. There'll also be the finalization of those Vue.js updates that I had mentioned a moment ago. Also, we will have the icon library ready, and there's also a donation module that we're working on. And I think that is it. All right, let me pass it back to, let's see, schedule either to Kylie or to Roman. Thank you.
It's Roman. So Roman's going to take over the screen
you.
share now, and he'll do it from this point.
Yes, I will show my screens. So hello everyone, glad to be here on the call, and let me quickly share my screen. Just a second. Good. Let me know if you cannot see it. And good, let's get started. So weekly schedules, and currently it's actually in beta version. So, but we already have something to show you. And the idea of these schedules is actually to simplify interaction with the schedule and events, to make it easier, to be honest. So you don't need to go to content like these complicated pages and add content, add session, and etc. So it's you know, after that you need to find it somewhere, and then to be ensured that the date's correct, and etc. etc. So weekly schedules designed to simplify it actually. And yes, and it's also designed to streamline both backend management and frontend display of weekly schedules. And to start to work with these schedules, you just need to go to simply one page. Here, as you can find schedules calendar, and here, as you can see, like list of branches. So you just need to choose one of this branch, and after clicking on it, we can see. Sorry, just move it. We can see just some basic information. So like branch name, dates, like start week and end date of week, then some navigation. So we can actually switch between weeks to see all schedules. We can also switch if, for example, it can be a case when week super loaded, right? So we can just change from week to day and check schedules as day. Also, there are some filters, like we can filter by category, right? So it's really simple, because I don't think you can go to content, right? This alt approach and filter it there. So it's super complicated to have, like to find schedules you wanna see, and also see the dates, like time and etc. time slots and etc. Also maybe see some slots where you want to schedule some event, right? So with this view, I think it's much easier. And so yes, it can be dynamically filtered, and also you can share this link with your friends. I don't know, so you can just copy this URL and share with your friend, and that person who will open this link will see the same what you shared. So it will be same week, same categories, and etc. So I think really useful. Also, it's possible to download as PDF, so you can filter everything, you can find whatever you want, you can create events, and then you can download it as PDF. And you can open it, and you will see like schedule. Let's uncheck these filters. Good. Also here from this view, you can do some management actually. Before, like to create some schedules, you need to go to content, create session, and etc. So now you can do it from this page. You can click on any event and see some basic information about that event. Of course, title, date, time slot, room, if it's field instructor, and etc. etc. So, and of course you can edit it from here. So as I said, it's beta version, so it will be of course some improvements here, but yeah, you can edit I think all information so you need. Also you can select days and update the event. Same with creation, so you can select range, create that event, select the date. For example, let's create some event, I don't know, for Monday, right? Test Monday event, choose any class, room, then branch. By default selected current branch, instructor, let it be me. Time slot, we can change here is the time, and we can select only Monday, or we can select few days, so it will be like kind of repeat event functionality. And create it, and here it is, so it's immediately appear on calendar. That's not it actually. Except all this functionality, we can drag and drop this event, so like automatically update dates. So we can move it, and that's it. So it's currently saved with new time slot. And for managers, maybe in future it will be extended, but for now with some kind of settings where we can like customize a bit our view of this calendar. We can go to schedules calendar settings, and we can change like slot. It's slot durations, snap duration. Here is a proper description, and like it's clear what does it mean. But yeah, if that's not fine, like I mean have slot with 30 minutes, then it can be changed. Yes, and I think that's shortly it. If you have any questions, please ask. I will be happy
Thank
to
you
answer.
so much. Thanks so much, Roman. I appreciate that. I think this will be very helpful specifically for our smaller wives.
Yeah, indeed.
Roman, if you would let Abby bring the screen share back up, we'll just sort of mosey on. And if you guys do
Yes.
have any questions that you're still thinking about, feel free to drop them into the chat. There is one, I think some of them have been answered as we go. So that is awesome. All right, Abby, you're up next.
Yeah, there is one question from Travis. If there's a simple way for frontline program directors and coordinators to update the schedule from the website. And I think this is exactly that. That's correct. This is it's meant to be an easy way for folks to update the schedule with like a user interface that's easy to use.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems that we heard from YMCA, is to give context to it to everybody, was that they were using effectively PDFs, putting them on the website and then saving them there. That there's multiple challenges. One, there's a huge accessibility challenge with regards to putting PDFs on the schedule or on the website because they aren't readable by screen readers. The second problem was they may try to embed them like an image, but they weren't being responsive in a way that maintained their readability. So this solution will, one, work for screen readers, and two, allows your frontline staff to easily update the schedules themselves through permission matrices that you can grant them. And then the third thing is it is adaptable to different both mobile and desktop tablets. As we said, it's still beta version. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup on it, but we're hoping the main version will be March 26th, but we're very excited for you guys to get to use it.
Cool. Okay, so I have a whole mix of stuff that is coming in this update that we wanted to update you about. The first, you might have seen a notification in Slack about this Polyfill service update. So I just want to take a quick minute to explain a little bit of what's going on here. This is a clip from a book that I read with my daughter called McToad Moe's Tiny Island. And so it's how I'm going to explain what we call a supply chain vulnerability. This is a whole kind of description of how this McToad gets his lawnmower from his garage to the island. It's like some supply chain. There's many different ways that things get from one place to another, and the same thing happens on the internet. All of this works because we trust that all of these pieces, the crane, the boat, the dock, the helicopter, the baggage buggy, the airplane, etc., are going to work how we expect them to work. But occasionally in the process, one of these things stops working how we expect it to work. For instance, the helicopter might not get filled up with gas. Somebody, it might have a different pilot, etc. That's what we call a supply chain vulnerability. When some part of the process changes the way that it works and breaks some piece of that. So that's what happened with this Polyfill service. So Polyfill is a way that we use. It's a service that we use to support older browsers. And it's a bunch of JavaScript that fits into some of the applications that we use, and just makes sure they work across the board for everybody. It's a third-party library, and it changed hands recently, which meant part of the way it worked changed, and that resulted in Virtual Y and some of the other systems that folks use being sporadically unavailable. So that was just, you tried to load Virtual Y, it just didn't load anything on the page. We patched this pretty quickly. We found out it was within a couple of days that the issue started happening. We found a fix and put the patch up. So there is a link to the issue. If somebody can drop that in the chat, there's a link to the patch. It's basically a one-line patch that changes where that script is located, and that restores functionality. So I think most sites have been updated with that, but if you're still seeing issues with Virtual Y, Activity Finder, or any of the other kind of in-page applications, you can grab that real quick and apply it.
And just a reminder for any of you Virtual Ys that are hosted with YUSA, we are actively rolling those out to your site, so there's no action needed on your part.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Next up is the text editor button. So we've kind of reviewed this in the past, but there was a way to make buttons in the text editor, the little colored buttons in your text fields that was not working for a while with the Drupal 10 update. And we told you that we had a solution in progress, and the solution is here. So in the December release, we had a fix. We pushed a change to that because the fix wasn't working well. And now with the March release, we have a new solution. When you make links in the text editor, you'll now see this bootstrap button section, and that will have options for the color, the size, and the style of the button. Those match the same functionality that we had with the previous button. And so when you push out the March release to your sites, this functionality will be restored. And there's information in the documentation about how to find these styles and how to use them. And there's a great example from the link in YMCA that has lots of examples of that. So just to say that the button stuff is back. Next up, we previewed some of the updates to events in a prior call. So I'm just going to review that, and we have a couple new things. So the layout builder events, we went through and did a whole overhaul on creating those events. So there are new options for setting the event date and time to make that process easier. There's a better display on both the main page and the like card view of events. And there's also now support for custom addresses. If an event is at a location that doesn't have a node in your site. So if you have an event that's not at a branch facility or camp or other thing that you have listed on the site, you can add a custom address and title in there. It'll give you directions. What's new in the March release is recurring events. We've had lots of requests for this. And so now we have full native recurring event functionality for the new layout builder based events. So as you would expect in any other calendaring software, you can set recurrences for days, weeks, months, years, some number of times, specific days. And when you set that up, both in the card view and the full event view, it'll give you a display of the upcoming time, any other recurrences, the next few dates, and also a very kind of brief summary of the recurrence instance. It also has add to calendar links that will give you individual links for a single event. So if somebody wants to, add one blood drive event to their calendar, or if there's a, film series, something like that, folks want to add the entire series, they can do that to their calendar too. Yeah, like Andre said, this is leveraging a bunch of really great Drupal community modules that have given us a ton of lift on this without building a lot of it ourselves. And I think that's it for events. Now we're going to go back to Tom.
Cool, thank you, sir. Right, so Traction Rec integration is introduced in this release, and what we mean by that is that it is available now. There is documentation that is created that points out precisely the steps that need to happen with two very key individuals. So there will need to be a technician from your organization or your agency involved, as well as your pardon me, as well as your Salesforce administrator for your association. So this documentation, which is largely technical as it needs to be, it lists out the series of steps that will need to happen to make that Traction Rec integration work. So again, just to cover everything on the slide here, the setup will require that coordination from someone from your development partner and a Salesforce admin. So please work with your website vendor or me if you host your site with YUSA. And if any of you have any questions about Traction Rec, feel free to put it into the chat or to contact me, and I can route those questions to the appropriate person and get those answers you need. Anything to add to that, Avi?
Sorry, fun. Yeah, we've gone through the process with 1Y so far, and we've been refining the documentation. Like Tom said, it does require a Salesforce administrator, and there is some in-depth kind of configuration on the Traction Rec Salesforce side. But we've gone through writing all of that process down, and I think it's relatively well documented now. But once all of that configuration is set up, it works really well. This is bringing everything from Traction Rec into Activity Finder, and I think it's going to be a great new addition for folks.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, to the next slide, please. Okay, let's see. Shelly, are you speaking to the roadmap portal?
Absolutely. I know it's our typical closeout, so I will just go ahead and close us out again. I know a bunch of you have been submitting ideas, and we are very thankful for that, so continue to do so. The website is down here at the bottom of this slide, ds-docs.y.org/roadmap. You can go in there, you can get a review of our upcoming releases and some just general information on what's included in those. And you can also submit ideas and feedback for future releases and submit feedback on items in future releases as well. So please go ahead and review that. Feel free to make comments and submit your ideas. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that, don't be shy about submitting ideas on that /roadmap page. I mean, that's kind of our main conduit to hear, precisely from the community what features or augmentations or new features, that you want to see. And as we start kind of collecting common themes from the community, then that directly drives our roadmap. So please, add any ideas, no matter if it's large or small, so that we can see what you're thinking.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, just before we adjourn, there's a good question that I want to draw attention to that Becky just asked. Is the membership calculator redesign financial aid assistance estimator was mentioned? Will that be something that hooks to the income check or based on the honor system?
I can give you a little sneak peek into that. So the general idea is we've done some research for estimating financial aid is that typically associations use charts of income versus your scale for discounts. So what we're going to do is basically create an import table for you so that you can import essentially your table for your income scale versus what your qualification for discounts will be. So it'll be something that doesn't necessarily hook into anything, but you will be able to import a general income table into a system and have it calculate based on what you've imported into the table.
The concepts right now, and if it sounds like you've got a really specific need, Becky, that we would love to hear more about just to make sure we are fulfilling it. The initial version is to at least allow, would be, I guess, classified as the honor system. It allows the user to validate if they qualify. But what we've heard so far, and you guys have to tell us if we're right or wrong, most organizations require tax forms and things like that submitted to the branch for proof. And a lot of that information we don't want to store on a Drupal site from a security-based perspective. So this is allowing them to qualify and then sort of weeding out people that do or don't qualify and then kind of moving them through that process. But it sounds like there's some really interesting things. There is an item on the board relating to this, and we'd love to hear some feedbacks of it because we obviously are still very much in the early stages. It's not quite yet underway. So if you do have feedback, please submit it and we'll try to get any improvements into the original version we can.
And because of the complexity of this topic, most likely there will be phases, like first and
100%.
second, just because we will be adding some new variations to this.
Yeah, financial assistance is a huge portion, at least from what you guys are telling us, of the Y business and making sure that you can support different economic conditions within your community. So we want to make sure we give back and donations the appropriate time it deserves, which means we'll start sort of building that out over time.
Yeah,
but keep the questions coming. We appreciate it.
I had another just quick note on the financial aid estimator. That was a good point about the question about will it let people know if they're actually eligible. I believe that the way we're going to design this is, making sure that there's a note within that estimator that says this is just an estimate of what your discount on your membership could be, and you will need to apply for any of those financial aid things directly with your Y association, because I know, as Kylie mentioned, for most of those, you actually are requiring a bit of additional information from people before you just say, hey, you're qualified for financial aid. It'll be more of an informative upfront piece for people to say, hey, maybe I can qualify for financial aid. And then they can go to you as an association and say, hey, this is my income. And I saw on your membership calculator that I might qualify for financial aid. How does that work? So it'll be a great way for your folks to kind of pull in more business that way as well.
Well, I think that's it for us today. Thank you for all the questions in the Slack channel. Again, these are the documentations that we keep available always. So there is the ds.ymca.org docs website, which is to the website services main site. The docs site for the marketers, for the developers, we keep a lot of the information there. Our YouTube channel will have this as well as any of our training videos. GitHub is for the developers to post any sort of issues they may find. And as always, please join the discussion on our YUSA Slack. If you don't have access to that, you can reach out to Tom Scarborough and he can get you added at any point. Also, just reach out to any of us and we'll work through the process and make sure you can get it. So thank you guys so much for your time this lovely Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I put my email in the chat. I mean, just email me directly if you don't have the Slack access and you're looking for it. Or certainly if you have other colleagues in the movement that would like to get the invite to this event, then please also email me who they are so that I can add them to the invite list.
Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, team.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.